Hey everybody, welcome to Did You Hear About This? I'm hungover Bill.
I'm vacationing, Scott.
How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great.
I'm actually doing all right. I had a couple drinks last night, like 3 drinks, and I timed it perfectly so I wouldn't be hungover for this morning. I did it all wrong. I totally fucked it all up. My wife likes to make me these drinks on Friday nights, like, they're just whiskey drinks. I misjudged how strong they were. So by the time I had my third drink, which was about 7 o'clock, I'm like, woo, I'm over the moon. And I'm like, I'm done. I'm done drinking.
So are you like tired drunk or are you wired drunk?
I was wired.
Okay.
And then I crashed at about 8 o'clock, completely sober at that point. Said, well, I'm done drinking. That was too high for me. And I woke up this morning and felt it. It's like, man, getting old just fucking blows.
Yeah, I did some drinking on vacation, but nothing too crazy.
What do you drink when you're on vacation?
I drink like a local. So I will seek out local distilleries, local breweries. We stayed in Duck, North Carolina on the Outer Banks. Never been to the Outer Banks. Didn't know much of anything about them. You know, the Outer Banks are 200 miles long.
No, I've never been there.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I thought the Outer Banks was like a town. Like people said I'm going to the Outer Banks.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah, no, it's like the barrier islands on the outside of North Carolina. So it's almost just like a sandbar if you think about it. And we stayed in Duck, home of Duck Donuts, which I went to the source and got an OG Duck Donut from the original Duck Donut location.
How was that?
Oh, it's fantastic.
What's great about that compared to Dunkin' Donuts?
Oh, no, they make them right in front of you. They come out of the bakery. They put on whatever toppings you want right in front of you. They hand it to you. It's still warm.
Oh,
It
wow.
melts in your mouth, man. The only thing close is like a Krispy Kreme, and even that's not even close.
So it's like the Subway of donuts. You tell them what you want on it, and they make it for you.
Or the Chipotle, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we stayed in Duck. Duck was awesome. Real laid-back town. There's nothing really commercial there. I mean, like Duck Donuts is the most commercial thing you can get. All the restaurants are like, I don't want to say family owned, but they're like locally owned, locally run restaurants. You're not going to like a Chipotle or a Subway or a McDonald's or any bullshit like that. So it's all like, like a local. So just south of Duck is Kitty Hawk, which most people know Kitty Hawk because of the Wright brothers, which doesn't make sense because just south of that is Kill Devil Hills. And Kill Devil Hills is where they actually have the Wright brothers memorial, where they actually had the first flight or the first flight testing. There was actually 4 flights that day in 1903. We went to that. So Kill Devil Hills is the name of the town. Got its name based on there was a shipwreck back in the 1800s and rum washed ashore. And the rum was so strong, like the proof was so high, they said it could kill the devil. So the town got its name of Kill Devil Hills. So the first thing I thought was, well, I'm buying rum from Kill Devil Hills somewhere. And sure as shit, there is a Outer Banks distillery that makes a Kill Devil Hills rum. And I was going to bring it today, but you too hungover to care.
Oh, that's why you said, hey, you want to have some rum? I was like, yeah, my body's saying no.
Nope.
But there's a few breweries on the island too, or on the islands, I should say. But definitely a laid-back trip. I mean, you know me, I love history, so we checked out 3 of the 5 lighthouses. We just sat on the beach, went to the pool a lot, just hung out. It was really low-key. I cooked like every night.
And you're happy about that?
Yeah, no, that was cool. I did like meal planning a week before the trip for breakfast and lunch and dinner, and got to cook for like 8 people.
Well, you were saying the supermarkets are few and far between and always crowded.
That's one thing I did do different this trip. Typically, I will like eat what is locally available as well. And I was kind of misinformed. It's not that there's no supermarkets. Like, there's Food Lions down there, but you just have to drive a little bit to get to the Food Lion.
Food Lion, right? I've seen Food Lions.
They're everywhere down there. We did drive past a Piggly Wiggly too, which I wish we would have stopped and went into, but I took everything I needed, so no Piggly Wiggly for me.
I've heard of Piggly Wiggly. What is that, a supermarket?
It's a supermarket, yeah.
I would have thought that could have been a restaurant.
No, Piggly Wiggly most people probably heard of in Driving Miss Daisy. He would take her to the Piggly Wiggly.
That's okay. All right. I'm like, how do I know Piggly Wiggly?
When I hear it, it's in Morgan Freeman's voice.
Yes. Piggly Wiggly.
Went to the aquarium one day. That was fun. Yeah, it was a great trip, man. Real laid back.
Good. Great. We're going to Key West in August for Amy's 50th.
Nice.
Yeah, we just scheduled that. So that's the only vacation I got coming up. I hope I have as good a vacation as you had.
Key West, you gonna go to Hemingway's house and see his six-toed cats? And
No, those damn cats are all over Key West.
yeah, but Hemingways have a genetic deformation where they're like Maine Coon cats. They have 6 toes instead of 5.
Yeah, they just wander around.
Yeah,
I've been there a few times.
They own the house.
No, but they wander around Key West.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought they were just wild cats. Roosters, too.
Tons of roosters.
Yeah.
I always wonder if I get chicken, are they just grabbing a rooster out in the back of the of the restaurant and just cooking that up?
I'll tell you, man, there's cock everywhere in Key West.
Yeah, I love Key West. I've been there a bunch of times. It's probably it's a tropical place in America.
Yeah.
The only other tropics in America, if you count Puerto Rico, but it is Hawaii.
Hawaii, yeah.
But the tip of Florida, right down there in the Keys, that's considered the tropics.
Just the tip.
Just the tip. How do I segue off that?
I don't know. That's your job.
Well, we could transition into fuck-upperies. Why not?
Yeah, I do have one, yes. I said that at the end of the Goonies, Ma Fratelli sang Hush Little Baby. It was Rockabye Baby, not Hush Little Baby.
Oh, I didn't even catch that at all.
Yeah, I felt dumb when I heard it in playback. That's what I got.
That's not a bad fuck-uppery.
Yeah.
We've been way off the mark. Worse than that before.
I know, but it was not accurate, and I owe it to the listening public to stand up to I'll own it. That's what I'll do.
That's true. We have to fix our mistakes.
Yes. Well, I also wanted to bring it up before Steve wrote in or anything like that.
Yeah, no, I didn't get
All right,
I didn't get a letter from anybody.
All right.
He fucked up Rockabye Baby.
What a dummy.
What was the song?
I said Hush Little Baby, but it was Rockabye
It was
Baby.
Rockabye Baby.
It's when the bow breaks, the cradle will fall. And that's been...
Fall? Break? One of my stories later today is about the Goonies.
I can't wait. Got some celebrity deaths this week.
Oh, yeah. Two of them that I know of.
3, I think.
3?
I think so.
All right, let's count them. So we got Sly Stone
Yes.
from Sly and the Family. And you sent me that note, like, he died. And I went, I know this guy's name and I know that band. I can't think of a song that they do. What music?
Thank you for letting me be myself again.
Okay.
It was funk.
There's our copyright strike.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, that's true. I do know that song. Were they more than a one-hit wonder? And I just don't know
they
their
had a
stuff?
couple songs. All I can hear is that song in my head right now, though.
Yeah, he was a funk guy.
He was a funk guy, but he was influenced a lot of music, a lot of musicians that are still singing today. Questlove did a documentary on him a couple of years back. But he was equally as well known for his offstage antics.
I know he had a drug problem. I know he was pretty wild in the drug scene.
He liked the Colombian marching powder, that's for sure. He liked the old booger sugar.
The booger sugar.
Yeah, I had some financial issues. Had this habit of, just not showing up for shows.
Oh, that's a bad habit to have if you're a performer.
It's true. So I think he pissed off people that way. I did some reading about, eulogy type things since his passing, and they really talked about how you could go to a Sly and the Family Stone concert, and there were black people, white people. It was really like equally enjoyed, regardless of race. So he kind of brought people together. So he was known for that kind of thing. So
that's cool. And then he just kind of quit. Like he just stopped performing.
Yeah, and he kept like promising he was coming out with a next album, and like, oh, I got like 100, maybe even 200 shows. So he got like real like hyperbolic and like his promising and over promising and underperforming, and it just became like, oh, this guy's a bullshitter.
Yeah.
But I'm sure a lot of it had to do with drugs.
I was kind of thinking that.
So that was the first death. These aren't necessarily in like chronological order, but that's the first one that I think I sent across to you. And then Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys.
Right. I heard about that one.
I know a lot more of the Beach Boys songs than I do Sly and the Family Stone songs.
Right. Me too. I think most people do.
Yeah.
I mean, Beach Boys were huge. Pet Sounds, I went through a phase of just listening to that like every day for years.
Like Surfer Girl and so good.
Yeah, Brian Wilson he's an absolute genius.
Yeah.
He's hard to get along with, I hear. And he doesn't like the other band, some of the other band members, which is why you didn't see much from the Beach Boys after they hit it big. They didn't get along.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was he in when they came out with Kokomo? Was he part of that, or was that like a fractured Beach Boys?
I don't like to think of the Kokomo Beach Boys era.
That was because Brian Wilson wasn't involved in that.
I don't believe so. But you know who was?
John Stamos. To see him behind the drums.
Playing bongos, right?
Oh, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, but then after that, Beach Boys was just like a reunion tour you'd see once in a while, and I don't think Brian Wilson was part of it. I could be totally wrong. But I think he was done with the Beach Boys after the Beach Boys did all their famous shit in the 60s and 70s.
That's a shame.
When was their last album? Was it in the 70s or were they a 60s band?
I know them mostly as a 60s band.
Yeah, maybe they didn't do anything really in the 70s.
I don't know.
And then they had their hit in the 80s.
In the 80s, Kokomo.
And then they went away again.
Was that just because of the Cocktail soundtrack?
Is that what it was on?
Yeah, that's where I had it.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
I mean, it could have been on a regular album too, but I knew it from the Cocktail soundtrack.
Oh, that's a great question. Maybe it was an old song that found its way back to life.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I assumed it was a new Beach Boys song that came out in the 80s. Not that big a fan to know, I guess.
Is that your least favorite Beach Boys song?
I don't hate that song. I
You
don't
don't?
hate it at all. I kind of like it.
I do not like Barbara Ann.
Oh, yeah. That's not so good.
No.
I forgot about that early Beach Boys stuff.
Yeah, I didn't care for that at all.
But Pet Sounds is just
Fantastic.
everything about the way it was recorded, about the song structures, everything was so bizarre compared to what they had done before. It was just like a total departure from their style, like completely. People must have been shocked by it.
Yeah, they used like a fucking, was it a Thielman? What's that?
Is that a theremin or something?
Yeah, I forget the actual name, but I always think of it from I think the Addams Family. They played it in the Addams Family one time. Also used in the beginning of Star Trek.
Oh yeah, it is.
That's the Star Trek theme from the original.
Yeah, that was a psychedelic album.
I'm telling you, man.
They must have been like, we're done with this fucking surfboard shit. Let's do drugs. Let's do drugs and see what we can come up with.
Oh man! And then number 3, as far as celebrity deaths, the guy that played the judge in Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah, Brother Dan sent that to you and I looked at the guy and went, huh? Who's that? I don't even know who it is.
All I know is he sentenced the Scolari brothers to death by electric chair. So when the movie opened in Ghostbusters 2, when they were still in jail, they were in the courtroom and the ooze on the table. Oh, they got arrested for imitating street repair guys, like public works people.
Man, I barely remember
They got
this.
the pink ooze from the subway.
Yeah.
And then that was like one of the exhibits on the exhibit table. And then the judge was giving them their sentencing, saying that they were a bunch of assholes, basically. And his anger fueled the pink ooze. And out pops the Scolari brothers.
You got a great memory for shit like that.
Well, here's something that really bothers me about this part of the movie. Like, the edit of this guy's face is terrible. When he says the Scolari brothers, like, it's like a bad edit. It shouldn't have made the final cut.
Like an ADR edit? Like the voice didn't match the lips?
It kind of was part of it, but there's like a pause, and then like it was just bad. Maybe it was like a edit because they were adding light effects, like a post edit where they were adding some special effects, but it's just bad. I don't like the look of it.
Oh.
And out of respect for this guy, I'll stop calling him this guy.
He's got a name, Scott.
He does. His name is Harris Yulin.
Harris Yulin.
And he passed away at age 87. Best known for his roles in Scarface? Nope. Ghostbusters? 2? Yup. And a wide range of film, television, and Broadway performances.
And Ozark.
He was in Scarface and Ozark. Yeah. And if you look at this guy, you'll know him, but died of cardiac arrest.
I looked at him. I didn't know him.
No?
I did not recognize him at all.
I saw his face and I thought, bad edit.
For you, that's his legacy.
Yeah, that's right. Too much CGI.
Well, rest in peace, you three.
Yes. I got nothing.
Well, you want to jump into some news things?
Yeah, let's do it. I've kind of been off the radar.
Well, maybe we can kick off with one that you sent over. So last time we got together, we were talking about how things aged bad, some things that aged badly, like Howard Stern.
Oh, yeah, because I saw Howard on the Pee-wee documentary, and I thought, what a dirtbag.
And you had found an article from cracked.com.
Dude, I don't even remember this.
Well, I got it here, so
This
don't
must
worry.
have been like right after the show last week.
When we talked about Howard Stern?
I must have read this story right after we wrapped recording because I have no memory of doing any of this.
Okay, well, we'll go
This
through
is
it.
new to all of us.
Do you remember Cracked.com was a magazine that competed with Mad Magazine?
Cracked magazine, yeah.
Cracked Magazine, yeah, it wasn't called Cracked.com back then. But there was Cracked, and what was the name of the character on Cracked? It was like Sylvester P. Smith or something, Smythe?
Maybe, but it was not as good as
Alfred E.
Newman.
It was such a ripoff of Mad Magazine.
So bad.
And I used to buy Mad Magazine, and I bought Cracked. So,
Cracked did more like parody stuff with movies, I feel.
Oh, I can't remember the difference. But when you sent this over, I was like, Cracked.com. I'm like, this is the same logo as the magazine.
I didn't even realize it was the same group.
Yeah. So this article is titled 6 Famous Sitcom Characters Who Are Kind of Creeps in 2025.
Oh, so things that didn't age well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So number 1 on the list, Sam Malone from Cheers.
Yeah,
Yeah, in hindsight, he was a little bit of a creep. He was a womanizer.
very much so.
Yeah.
I feel like most guys that were single guys in sitcoms at that time were all portrayed that way. That was the character arc.
That was the time.
And there was no arc. It was just their character.
Yeah.
Like, look, Quagmire.
Quagmire is like Sam Malone.
He very much is.
I mean,
He's more forward with it.
he's a lot more extreme Quagmire. But yeah, there was some sexist humor.
Well, then Cheers took a turn when he was trying to get with Diane. Or, no, maybe he was trying to get with Rebecca.
Which one's which?
Well, Diane is Shelley
Shelley
Long,
Long.
and then Rebecca was,
The other one.
yeah, what's her name?
Sylvester P. Smythe. What is her
I
name?
can see your name. I can see your face.
Kirstie Alley.
Kirstie Alley. She passed away, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Another one on this list, number 2, Barney Stinson in How I Met Your Mother.
Okay.
Isn't that still pretty recent to have aged poorly?
I mean,
I don't
was
know that-
definitely the 2000s,
Yeah.
but
I don't know the show at all. Were you a fan of the show?
I watched it.
I
Had
loved
it in Jason Segel.
Yeah, I love the characters in it or the actors in it, but
He was played by Doogie Howser, right? Or,
Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris.
NPH. What was his story? He was a real pussy hound too?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, which is great. Considering he's not into women at all in real life.
Yeah, that is ironic. Or what is that? Creative license? What is that?
I guess that's what it is.
It's okay. I'm gay.
Here's one I don't know anything. Rob Petrie in the Dick Van Dyke Show. I was not a watcher of the Dick Van Dyke Show.
No, me neither. What does it say about him?
It says when Rob Petrie meets his future wife Laura, who is Mary Tyler Moore, he's nearly 30 and a sergeant in the U.S. Army. 11 years his junior, Laura is a 17-year-old dancer from the USO. Yes, it was a different time, but yes, it's also creepy in retrospect.
So there would have been like, we're definitely talking like a summer-fall relationship here.
I like it says here, it takes a jab at Jerry Seinfeld. Although not quite as creepy as a 38-year-old Jerry Seinfeld actually dating a 17-year-old girl. That happened.
That's now his wife.
Did they marry?
Yeah,
I didn't know
his
that.
wife. Yeah.
Here's another one I'm not sure I get. Mr. Feeney in Boy Meets World.
Mr. Feeney was creepy. I mean, like, he was a kid's elementary school teacher.
What did he do that was creepy? I don't remember
Well, then
that.
the kids went to high school, and he became the high school principal to follow him. And then they graduated high school and went to college, and then he went to become a college professor. So he's like stalking these kids, plus he's their next door neighbor.
I never thought of it that way.
The show went on longer than it should have, I feel. And Mr. Feeney was a character everybody liked, but what is he going to be like an elementary school next door neighbor type guy the whole time? Like he was basically going to be written out.
Yeah, that is pretty creepy.
Right?
Huh. All right, Mr. Feeney, you freaking perv.
We're looking at you, diddler.
Next on the list, number 5, Steve Urkel in Family Matters.
I mean, he was just obsessed with Laura Winslow, right?
In season 5 of Family Matters, Ultimate Nerd Steve Urkel develops a formula for something he calls cool juice.
Oh, Stefan Urkel.
That's right. I remember that now. Upon ingesting the elixir, he becomes the deeper-voiced, smooth-talking Stefan Urkel, who also happens to be a swarmy babe magnet.
Oh, my. Well, if he's a babe magnet, aren't they coming after him? Or is the swarmy part the bad part?
I guess that's the bad part.
So he uses that to his advantage to just play women.
Yeah, I guess.
So he's also a womanizer, but unlike Sam Malone, who was always chasing women, these women were coming after Stefan.
Were they? I barely remember this show.
If he's a babe magnet.
Sometimes you're a babe magnet in your own mind.
Oh, yeah.
And then last on the list, this is my favorite. Number 6, Gonzo in The Muppet Show.
Gonzo in The Muppet Show?
And then it says here, why is he a perv? He fucks chickens. That's it.
That is true, Camilla.
It says there's no way they can consent. He fucks chickens.
Yeah?
So stupid.
I mean, Camilla was always around.
Gonzo. I loved Gonzo.
He always professed his love for chickens.
He did love chickens. But I guess I thought he was a chicken. I don't know what I thought he was with that weird...
He's a weirdo.
Chicken? Yeah, what is he?
He's a weirdo. That's what they call him on the show.
Just a weirdo.
He's a weirdo.
Yeah, he wasn't a chicken, so I guess I never made the connection on why he loved chickens.
When you think about it, there was a couple Muppets where, like, Kermit's a frog, clearly. Miss Piggy's a pig. Rolf was a dog. What the hell was Skeeter?
Skeeter? Wait, I thought it was Scooter.
Maybe it was. There was Scooter and Skeeter and Muppet Babies. Maybe that's what I'm fucking.
Oh, yeah, I just thought that was a little boy.
Yeah, but... And then there was, like... Bunsen Honeydew. Was he actually just like a honeydew melon with glasses?
I don't know. I thought he was just a man.
Because Swedish Chef was a guy.
That was a guy.
Clearly. And Pepe the King Prawn was a shrimp or a prawn. But most of them were animals.
What was that big brown monster? Remember that thing?
Sweetums.
Sweetums?
Yep.
It was just a monster.
It was. Yeah.
It was just so random.
It was. I mean, like, some of them make sense. And, like, okay, they're all going to be animals, like character animals. And it's like, well, we got this thing. It's Scooter.
Yeah, but going back to Gonzo, I think I always thought he was a bird of some sort, not a chicken.
No, they call him a weirdo. Because he was always like, what am I? Maybe that was Muppet Babies, too, where he wanted to know what he was. And it's like, well, you're a weirdo. They even hinted that he may have come from space at one point.
Really?
Yeah. Well, he fucks chickens no matter what.
Well, he's a weirdo. And he didn't age well, according to crack.com.
I mean, age well, would that have been, that makes it sound like it would have been appropriate for the 70s. Like, oh, well, back when everybody fucked chickens, but it aged pretty poorly nowadays. Like, no, it's not. What are we talking about?
Oh, man.
Adam Sandler had a song called My Little Chicken where he was fucking chickens.
What?
Adam Sandler had that on his second album.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that one.
Yep.
The second album I didn't like as much as the first album. I didn't listen to it nearly as much.
Yeah, there was no Toll Booth Willie on the second album.
No, Toll Booth Willie is great.
Or The Buffoon. I listened to that album so fucking much.
No! Is that the first one?
That was the first one.
They're all going to laugh at you.
Yes.
No!
Overprotective Mother.
Oh, that was funny. I like that.
His albums were so much better than anything he ever did on Saturday Night Live.
I went to see him play live because I was so into that first album that I thought it was going to be comedy.
Oh, you said it was all music.
It was all music. He just played songs. And some of them weren't funny songs. I was like, this is getting pretty dull.
If he played Piece of Shit Car, that's well worth it.
It may have been in the playlist. I don't remember.
That was album 2 as well.
Yeah.
Maybe even album 3.
I said playlist. I meant set list. Playlist.
Knew what you meant.
I'm blaming The Hangover.
Well, it's different that you actually use the more modern term than the old school term, like tape, like we typically do.
I know.
Or video.
Yeah, video.
So that was 6 of them. Are there any other like characters you can think of that just aged poorly that didn't make that list?
My problem is I aged poorly, so I don't really...
Your barometer's a little off? Yeah. Your compass isn't pointing due north, huh?
I still like crass humor. I still tell dirty jokes. I don't belong in this world anymore.
Yeah.
I was watching, I love the Gemstones, that Righteous Gemstones.
Yeah.
And, like, the jokes there are getting kind of raunchy. And I was like, wow, we're getting raunchy again. This is perfect. I love raunchy jokes. But I went down a little bit of a Danny McBride rabbit hole. I went and started to watch Eastbound and Down.
Oh, so good.
It's so good. It's dirty jokes. I'm like... And then there's another show on Netflix called Tires.
I watch that.
Dirty jokes.
with Shane Gillis.
I'm so happy. There's shows that have dirty jokes.
Yep.
I found my tribe.
Yep.
There's still stuff out there for me in this PC gone mad world.
Here's something that is kind of adjacent to the things that age poorly, but not in the same way. I don't like how 1980s sitcom dads were always written to be fucking buffoons. Like Homer Simpson was supposed to be like basically a mentally retarded individual.
I noticed that in a lot of commercials. Every guy in a commercial was an idiot.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. Tim Allen in Home Improvement. Like, yeah, he had his own show, but they always did okay, that they provided for their family, but then they went home and, like, the mom always called the shots. Like, he was completely whipped by the old lady. Patricia Heaton, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Well, in the 80s, I can think of Mr. Drummond. He was not a buffoon. He was pretty normal.
Well, then you have, like, Mr. Belvedere came in to, like, run the house in Mr. Belvedere, but Bob Euchre was an idiot.
He was an idiot, yeah. You might be onto something here.
Yeah. Like, there was always, like, somebody that was running the show, and it wasn't the old man. The old man was there, but, meh.
Interesting observation.
Yeah.
I'll have to think more on that.
Get back to me.
So looking at other news stories here, my friend Jen sent this over. Did you know they're making a Care Bears movie? They're making a Care Bears movie.
Animated or live action or CGI, or what are we talking about here?
I don't think this article from Hollywood Reporter says that.
Okay, so we're pretty early in the process.
Yeah, we're pretty early. So here's the write-up. The Care Bears are set to open their hearts for a new feature project. Oh. Josh Greenbaum will direct the Care Bears movie that is in early development at Warner Brothers, so it'll probably get deleted.
HBO's going to flush it.
A writer has not yet been announced for the film that has also not disclosed plot details.
Okay.
Producers include Chris Bender and Jake Weiner for Good Fear and Jonathan. Moving on from that, fuck that. Care Bears got their start on greeting cards in the early 1980s and landed their own television series later that decade. Did you know they started
I did not know that. I thought they started as stuffed animals.
I thought they did too. I thought they were toys.
Yeah.
They were toys that they made a cartoon out of.
Such an 80s move. But greeting cards.
That's what it says here.
Wow.
They've been the focus of such films as 1985's animated The Care Bears movie.
I went to the theater to see that. My grandmother fell asleep.
You must have been 1 year old. How old were you then?
What was it, 1984?
85.
I was 5.
Okay, and you remember that?
Yeah.
Boy, I have no memory of anything at 5.
I saw it right down here at Fox Theater East, which is no longer even a theater.
It featured Mickey Rooney. That's how old this thing is. Well, we talk a lot on the show about, old nostalgia and bringing it back. I don't know. Do you think anybody's going to care about the Care Bears? Again, this is our generation, and we've outgrown the Care Bears.
So you were 10 when this came out.
Yeah.
Did you have any Care Bears?
My sister did.
So it was more of a girl's thing for you.
Yeah.
See, at 5, like, I had Lionheart, who was the main character of the Care Bears movie. He was not actually a bear at all. He was a lion.
Was it played by Van Damme? Remember Lionheart by Van Damme?
No, I didn't think about that. No. I think it was King Lionheart, actually.
What was on Lionheart's belly?
A trophy with a heart in the middle of it.
A trophy?
Yeah. I don't remember the storyline, Bill. Don't ask me any more questions.
Yeah, I'm barely remembering Care Bears. Yeah, that was something that boys couldn't have. In my life, boys couldn't have that. We had to have G.I. Joe. Pound Puppies was a thing. Boys couldn't have Pound Puppies.
Oh, I had Pound Puppies, too.
Boys couldn't have Cabbage Patch Kids.
Never had those.
Yeah. It was very, very weird when I was young. Like, you had to play with toy guns. You had to play with G.I. Joe and Transformers. You had to hate She-Ra. You had to hate Jem and the Holograms.
I watched Jem and the Holograms. I feel like I had a lot of robots. I didn't have a lot of guns or anything. Like water guns, yeah, but not like cap guns or shit like that I remember. A lot of robots and trucks and stuff like that.
Mask, all those cool things.
I never had Mask, I don't think.
It's interesting how we've had different experiences. Like, just, again, we say this every once in a while. It's like we're 5 years apart from each other, but it just feels like we had different upbringings.
Yeah.
Gen X was a weird, because you're in the Gen X pocket, right?
I was the last year to make the cut of Gen X, yes. 1980 was the cutoff.
You mean the Goonie generation.
Okay.
What am I talking about?
I don't know. I'll agree with it.
I'm going to segue to another story. So apparently there's a thing going around in TikTok where a lot of Gen Xers prefer to call themselves the Goonie generation instead of the Gen X generation.
That almost doesn't make any sense because Goonies came out. Well, no, it could. I guess what defines a generation? Like when you are coming of age?
Yeah, it's when you were born. It's the pocket of time you were born in. They just named that.
But like if I was the last cut of the Goonie generation, if you will, the movie came out in 1985. I was 5 when it came out. So like how old was the rest of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that math doesn't work out.
That's what I'm saying. Like for a Gen X to call themselves something that came after their time, up there it's their time. Down here, it's our time. Down here.
This is an article from Upworthy, whatever that is. Those born between 1970 and 1985 are ditching Gen X and millennial titles for Gen Goonie. I'm not doing this. And there was a little bit of a write-up that I thought was interesting. I thought I'd read this. Gen X is often called the forgotten generation because it is sandwiched between the much larger baby boomer and millennial generations. However, the forgotten label carries a special meaning for younger Gen Xers because they were probably the least parented group of kids in American history. Absolutely true, at least in my case. Those born in the 70s were raised when there were more dual income households and divorced parents. So many wore keys around their neck and cared for themselves after school. Younger Gen Xers also grew up when parents were more permissive, allowing them to stay out all day on their bikes. They only knew it was time to come home when the streetlights came on. Mm-hmm. They also grew up in the last analog era without cell phones, and parents had to call around the various houses to find out where their kids were. Sure, being a kid in those days was a little risky, but it also fostered a fantastic sense of independence. Everything about what I just read was my life. Completely.
Well, that sounds like how it would have been for the Goonies, too. So don't you think that embodies what your experience was?
Yes, but I still don't want to call myself...
it.
I'm a Gen Xer, not the Goonie generation.
What a Gen X thing to do.
So now there's all these videos on TikTok, which I don't watch TikTok, but it's just everybody's like, I'm going to call myself the Goonie generation.
Okay.
So this Upworthy thought it was worth an article.
All right.
And it came into my purview, and I was like, I read that piece, and I was like, yeah, that really was the way I grew up.
So the Goonie generation kind of bridges Gen X and early millennials.
According to Upworthy.
Okay. All right. Whatever. Call yourself whatever you want.
How about this breaking news? I think we talked about the fact that we knew they were doing it, but now there's a trailer for the Spaceballs sequel.
Oh, yes, I saw this. And they did it really well.
You want to explain what you saw?
Just a scroll. And it says it's been 38 years. And 38 years ago, there was only one Star Wars trilogy. And then it went into saying, like, now there's a prequel trilogy and a sequel trilogy and a prequel sequel trilogy and numerous TV spin-offs, and it just keeps going. A dedicated streaming channel just for Star Trek, and 5 Jurassic Park movies and 9 Alien movies, 2 of which were also Predator movies, and it just keeps going and going. But in 38 years, there's only been one Spaceballs until now.
And
then Mel Brooks pops up.
Who's like 98 years old.
He doesn't look bad.
He looks great.
He looks the same as he always did.
I guess he's in it.
He basically says that, we talked to the fans and asked what they wanted, and instead we're putting out this movie.
I also read that they are bringing Rick Moranis back for it and Bill Pullman.
Oh, that would be so good.
I am cautiously optimistic about this. Like I keep saying I don't want sequels to our old shit because there's too high of a potential to ruin the legacy for me.
And this is the one where we talked about Josh Gad is helping to write it, correct?
Yeah, he's got some involvement.
Yeah, this could be good. You think Josh Gad's going to play, what was his name?
Barf. He
was a Mog. Half man, half dog. He was his own best friend.
Yeah, I wonder how they'll play with that.
I forgot Barf. How could I forget his name? Bartholomew.
But remember how bad History of the World Part 2 or whatever that new version of it was? That's what I'm worried about, that this won't land.
Was it bad, or was it just something that was put out as a series that should have been a movie?
I couldn't get through it.
No?
Yeah. I watched about 5 minutes of it. I was like, I'm out. This isn't for me.
It was more Nick Kroll humor and not as much Mel Brooks humor for me.
I don't remember. Is that who made it? Nick Kroll? That was
Yeah,
a Nick
he was a
Kroll
big
production?
part of it.
Oh,
There was 3 of them. I forget who the other. Was it Josh Gad, Nick Kroll, and somebody else?
I forget.
There was a woman involved. I forget. Sarah Silverman?
Maybe. Again,
I forget. It's been a while.
Yeah, I erased it from my memory. I was so insulted by how unfunny it was.
Yeah. I would say Spaceballs isn't Mel Brooks's greatest achievement.
It isn't?
I don't think so.
No?
No.
For me, it is. I mean, Blazing Saddles
was pinnacle for me.
That's great. Young Frankenstein is great.
Young Frankenstein was, first and second in a close race for me.
Oh.
Spaceballs fell off quite a bit.
Oh, see, that was number one.
It was what I grew up with, though. So it has a special place. I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying, looking back, it was just kind of low hanging fruit for a lot of those jokes. So I could see that being the kind of shit that a sequel would play for today.
But will it work? I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Trailer was good. Of any trailer I've seen so far, I was like, yeah, I'm going to watch this.
But the trailer was just a scroll.
I was okay with that.
I want to see
there was still humor in those words.
Yeah, there was. I want to see what the characters look like now. I don't know. If it's just fan service, I'm not going to like it. If it's actually well-written comedy, well-written 80s Mel Brooks comedy, then I could probably get into it.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid it's just going to be a phoned-in thing. So if it's bad, that's going to feel awful.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a Spaceballs cartoon? Or am I dreaming that? Didn't they try something and it just didn't land?
I don't know. I can't imagine that wouldn't have come up in one of our things that were had animated spin-offs, like Pee-wee's, or like Bill and Ted and RoboCop. I'm surprised that wouldn't have come up before.
Maybe it was that forgettable. That's my fear, that this thing is just going to be terrible.
Let's look it up. Least favorite character in Spaceballs?
There is no least favorite character. I loved everybody in it.
It's the wrong answer. It's Dot. Dot was so annoying.
Oh, I didn't mind Dot.
You
didn't like Dot?
Did not.
Yes, there was a Spaceballs cartoon. It was called Spaceballs, the animated series. It aired in 2008 on G4. Remember that channel?
G4. It was like the video game channel. That's where Olivia Munn came from.
Yeah. Mel Brooks was involved in voice characters like President Scroob and Yogurt. The show had 1 season, 13 episodes, and was not well received. Critics and fans mostly hated it for being lazy, unfunny, and far from the charm of the original 1987 movie.
There you have it.
That's what I'm worried about.
There you have it. Did you see that Time Warner or Warner Brothers Discovery is splitting into 2 different companies?
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that. I don't really understand what they're doing. I didn't read it that in depth.
Yeah, it feels like it was like a Unilever type company with basically, long story short, Zaslav is keeping movies and streaming, and the other parts are being spun off to another guy. A lot of that, I think, has to come down to the fact that I read that there's $50 billion in debt for HBO or Warner Brothers Discovery. So they're trying to spin a lot of that debt off to the other part of it. How does a company run being billions of dollars in debt?
I don't know.
I mean, I guess the country does it, but I didn't think companies could do it.
Yeah. I own a business, but when you get to that level of business, you got to be a genius to be able to navigate.
I'm out.
Yeah, I can't answer that question. Yeah, how do they do that?
No idea, man.
That shit just gets way too complicated. You got to have a million lawyers, advising you on what to do and what decisions to make.
But for each lawyer you have, that's just more money you're going into debt. It seems like self-fulfilling prophecy or what is that? Death spiral.
Well, we talked about it, I think it was last episode. Maybe it was the one before, and I'm still reading stuff that keeps saying that the experiment that is streaming TV is a failure. How is it a failure? Everybody's watching streaming TV, but companies are not doing well. Disney's not doing well with streaming.
Right. Yeah, I guess the amount of money it takes to produce a series, how many subscribers do you need? That's why we're seeing all these commercials again. Like I said before, we've gone back to basically cable television.
Yeah. Well, it's one reason why a lot of people aren't filming in L.A. anymore, because L.A. is just so stupid expensive that they're finding it's a lot cheaper to film somewhere else, which is killing the L.A. market, which is why everybody's calling L.A. the new Detroit. They are for Hollywood. It's the what was the article I read the other day? It was L.A. is the new Detroit for the Hollywood
So
market.
basically what the automotive industry was for Detroit.
Yeah, just got too expensive to operate and blew up.
I just think of The Simpsons. Flim Springfield. Well, look at this place. They don't even care about spelling. Like they had like a variety magazine. They spelled Flim. Flim Springfield. That's why they shot the Radioactive Man movie there.
Oh, I remember Radioactive Man. What was his sidekick's name? Fallout Boy?
Jiminy Chillikers. Jiminy Chillikers.
Is that where the band got their name?
Yeah.
Fallout Boy?
100%. Look out, Fallout Boy. Jiminy Chillikers, Radioactive Man. Now, Fallout Boy. No need for profanity.
That's good. I like that. All right, how about one more story? You sent this over. Orville Peck, whoever that is, it's not about Orville Peck. It's more about what I'm about to say. Cast in the live-action Street Fighter film with Jason Momoa. They're making a Street Fighter movie now.
That's what caused me to send this over. I didn't know they were making a Street Fighter movie.
Me neither. Again, more nostalgia. Who wants this? Who's into this?
It does talk about Jean-Claude Van Damme and Raul Julia in the 94 version.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, this isn't a sequel to that. It's just a whole new remake of it.
Correct. This Orville Peck, I believe, is a country singer, which is off my radar, but he wears a mask all the time to perform, and he's also currently doing the Broadway version of Cabaret.
Okay, that I read.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he wore a mask because he's got a mask in this picture.
Yeah, that's his always ongoing thing. That's like his shtick, I guess. So a lot of speculation leads people to believe that he's going to be playing Vega.
Oh, that's funny. That's actually kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But now who's Jason Momoa going to play? I mean, it doesn't say in the article, but who do you think?
Blanca.
You think? That'd be wild.
I hope they paint him green.
Oh, that would be so good.
Make him squat around and roar. That's what I want to see Jason Momoa do.
Well, he's not playing Zangief. Sure as hell isn't E Honda or Dalsim.
Yeah, you don't see him as Dulcie?
I don't see him as Dalsim, no.
They'll probably make him Ken.
Oh, Ryu?
Or Ryu.
Could be.
Or Chun-Li.
Spin style kick.
They're making a sequel to that Mortal Kombat movie. I just was reading about that.
Oh, yeah, with the character that nobody gave a shit about.
Yeah, it was terrible. I hated that movie.
Yeah.
So, but somehow that got greenlit for a sequel, and they're all excited about that sequel. They're like, it's the greatest thing we've ever made, the people that are putting it together. I'm like, I don't think people care.
The best part about that movie was like a 10-minute vignette where Scorpion becomes Scorpion when Sub-Zero comes and kills his family. That was the best part of that movie. And it lasted all of 10 minutes. And the rest of it was like, well, all downhill from there.
Yeah. Another thing that I completely forgot. Just didn't earn space in my brain.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Who's excited for a new Street Fighter movie?
Yeah, when it came to Mortal Kombat, like, Sonya Blade was always my least favorite character from the get-go. I didn't like her moves. Her controls were clunky. And every movie they come out with is revolving around Sonya Blade.
E Honda was the one I struggled with. Wasn't his name?
Oh, now we're talking.
I'm mixing them up.
Yeah,
right.
E Honda was Street Fighter.
Right, Sonya. Who did I struggle with in Mortal Kombat? Most of them.
Kano's moves were shit too.
Kano. I'll say Kano. I hated Kano.
Yeah.
I never picked him.
Nope.
Yeah, there were both those games. There were a couple characters that I avoided like the plague.
Yeah.
I didn't go near at all. They were just too hard to use.
Dalsim was tough to use in Street Fighter.
But he blew the fireball.
He did.
I was great at that kind of shit. Anybody who had a power could throw a fireball or throw a ring, or like Guile had that.
Sonic Boom.
The Sonic Boom. That's right. That's what it was called. I was great at those.
Yeah. He was tough to control, though, outside of that. I like he would grab you in a headlock and punch you in the top of the head.
Yeah.
That's Dalsim. That was fun. But I digress. Is this the show?
I think that's it. I'm out of stories.
Yeah, I got nothing else to talk about.
All right. We've gone long enough.
I'm out of coffee. Hey, well, thanks for listening, everybody. Hopefully you didn't run out of coffee and you stuck with it till the end. If you did, I appreciate it. Tell a friend, and we'll talk to you next week.